Hi, Peter Charles here of Hooked for Life Photography, and look what I picked up today. A Nokton 35mm f1.2 from Voigtländer, and it's the X mount, which means it has the electronic contacts to communicate with the camera. So let's open this up and see what we have. I'm curious to find out whether this is substantially lighter or smaller than the autofocus version. Well, we got the usual book, and we have lots of styrofoam, which is nothing new. All right, so we have a lens and a little tiny lens hood. This is kind of like the lens hood that comes with the Fujifilm 35mm f2. It's just a little, basically a little ring. Is it metal? Yeah. I'm not sure. Either good plastic or it's metal. Probably metal. They advertise everything about these lenses as being metal and glass. So here we have the 35 f2, and just turning that ring nice and smooth. It's the focusing ring really is very, very smooth. And okay, if you're going to buy a manual focus lens like this one, you want a manual focus experience. It's worth it. And that smooth focusing ring that's nice and got some resistance to it, so it just doesn't slop over. That's great. And we have the aperture ring. Oh, it's 3 clicks between each stop. Very handy. And you notice the other thing too, it's very broadly spaced, which is quite useful. I've seen some aperture rings on the cheaper lenses that are out there that are so scrunched together that, trying to get moving from 5.6 to there, not going to do it. So the other thing we're looking at is a distance scale. This is going to be kind of interesting because I have my X Pro with the 35mm on it. So we'll take that off and we'll put on the lens, take the lens cap off. First off, you see it's not that big a lens. It's pretty small. I mean, it's actually a fair bit smaller than the 35 f2, which is understandable. The Fujifilm lens has autofocus, this one doesn't, so you would expect that. So what I'm interested in seeing is what happens at distance scale. I've heard stories about the distance scale being off, so I have my X Pro set to film for the distance scale and the depth of field scale. So let's see what happens. I'm going to take the glasses off for that. Just checking to see what happens if there's anything comparable. Let's go out to the back of the room here. All right, so we're a little under 3 meters all the way to infinity. And yeah, this looks comparable to the film format option on the X Pro. So far it looks good. Let me up the aperture to f8. Let's try it again. Yeah, that looks about right. So I've heard stories that the depth of field scale doesn't come close to being accurate, but it does match what the camera is telling me when it's set to film format for the depth of field. If you set it to pixel level, you're going to get a different result. But anyway, so the other thing I like is the grip for the aperture ring is quite good. The grip for the focusing ring is quite good. Very, very nice, smooth, well damped, well designed controls. And that's kind of the thing I'm looking for with this. I want a good experience with manual focus, and I want the electronic connections, which tells me my aperture, tells me my distance, tells me my depth of field, all that kind of good stuff. And when I get the data in the image afterwards, I got all that data in my file for the image, the EXIF data. So that's what I'm looking at for this. And plus, it's smaller. I mean, it's quite a bit smaller compared to the Fujifilm lens. So that's not a bad thing. But, you know, the Fujifilm is autofocus, this one manual. So I'm looking forward to getting this one out. You know, it's quite a nicely designed lens. The tactile thing. Okay, let's be real here. It's manual focus lens, right? I want these controls to work really smoothly, very well, and they do. So there you go. There's the Voigtländer 35mm f1.2 for Fujifilm X mount. I'm looking forward to this. So I'm going to get out there, get some shots, and yeah, a month or so down the road, I'll put some up on YouTube. Cheers.